week 17 of the fantasy baseball season. So now with the deadline has come and gone, it's about just picking up players off the waiver wire and seeing what guys could do with their new teams now in the next few weeks. But anyway, here's a few pitchers I look to sell and trade this week. The first player is Steven Matz of the St. Louis Cardinals. So Steven Matz, over the last few weeks here, he pretty much got back into this Cardinal rotation, and he's really pitching good baseball all of a sudden after he was batting practice the first half of the season on the year. 93 innings, 2-7 record, 87 Ks, a 4.06 ERA, 1.39 whip, and 2 quality starts. But like I said, the last month of the season, 29 innings, 2-0 record, 29 Ks, a 2.17 ERA, 0.93 whip, and 2 quality starts. So Steven Matz, he's going out there. He's pitching great baseball for the St. Louis Cardinal team. We know the Cardinals, they sold a few players off at the deadline. Jordan Montgomery, Jordan Hicks, we saw them trade off. A few guys like that. And now Steven Matz here, he's going to have a spot in the rotation as well, I believe, for the remainder of the season, with Jack Flaherty traded to Baltimore as well. But right now, I think he's pitching over his head. The last few seasons, he just hasn't been a good pitcher as Steven Matz. And right now, while he's pitching good and a guy you still could pick up off the waiver wire and flip him in a deal, these are the type of moves you want to make this part of the season to try to make a push for your playoffs and make your championship in fantasy. July 25th at the Diamondbacks, 6 innings, no decision, 5 hits, no runs, a walk, 6 Ks, a quality start. And then July 30th versus the Cubs, 6 innings, got the win, 4 hits, no runs, 2 Ks, a quality start. So Steven Matz, we've seen flashes throughout his career where he goes on little runs like this, but I'm just not buying it. He's been hit a lot over the last few seasons, like I said, and even bounced around the league. He's been on 3 teams now in the last 5 years as Matz. So right now, while he's pitching good baseball, even though he's on a Cardinal team that's obviously not contending this season, 11 and a half games out of the wild card, and sold some players off at the deadline, this is a perfect time to sell him. And he's got a good matchup coming up August 5th, no doubt about it, is Steven Matz versus the Rockies. So maybe after that you want to sell him, but definitely this week, I think he's a pitcher I would sell this week. The next pitcher is Zach Eflin of the Tampa Bay Rays. So Zach Eflin, it's been a solid first year for him in Tampa Bay after he was a up and down starter in Philly for many seasons. So on the year, 122 and a third, 12-6 record, 121 Ks, a 3.46 ERA, a 1 whip, and 12 quality starts. But right now, Eflin's going out there every 5th day and pitching good for this Tampa Bay Ray team, especially we know they need that starting pitching with injuries throughout the season. Rasmussen and Jeffrey Springs, but Eflin, I know they gave him the biggest contract in Tampa Bay Ray history as a free agent, but I just don't see him keeping it up as well. This Ray team obviously got off to that roaring start the first 2 months of the season, but they've pretty much been a 500 team since then. So right now, Eflin pitching great baseball, but I don't see it holding up, honestly, and he's in a very tough division with solid teams, obviously. The Boston Red Sox, Toronto Blue Jays, Baltimore's having one heck of a season. The Yankees, I know they haven't played good this season, but they still could be a threat as well in terms of hitting. I don't think they're making the playoffs, but anyway, that's a story for another day. So the last few games for Eflin, July 21st versus Baltimore, 7 innings, got the win, 2 hits, no runs, a walk, 8 Ks, a quality start. July 26th, the Marlins hit him pretty well, 4 innings, got the loss, 7 hits, 5 runs, a walk, 3 Ks. And August 1st at the Yankees, he pitched a gem in that one in yesterday's ball game, 6 innings, got the win, 3 hits, no runs, 5 Ks, a quality start. So coming off a great outing like that, even though I know the Yankees, their hitting's been weak all season, and believe it or not, they're one of the worst hitting teams in the league is this Yankee team. Even though I know Aaron Judge is back now, but teams are pitching around him and making other players trying to beat him. But anyway, while Zach Eflin's coming off a great outing, while his numbers overall have been great this season, I just don't see it holding up for whatever reason here for Eflin. And another thing is, Eflin, I know, was banged up last season. Only pitched 75 2/3 already this year. He's 50 innings about over that. So right now, that's another factor to factor in here with Eflin. And right now, while he's pitching good, he's definitely a pitcher I look to sell this week. The next pitcher, we're staying in the same division. It's Kyle Gibson of the Baltimore Orioles. So this Oriole team, they geared up in the farm system, calling up some of their guys. They made a trade for Jack Flaherty, and Kyle Gibson, he's been decent over the last few weeks here, but another pitcher that I think he could even be bumped out of this rotation possibly, or a guy that's going to struggle once again. On the year, 133 innings, 10-6 record, 108 Ks, a 4.53 ERA, 1.31 whip, and 12 quality starts in the last couple weeks for Gibson. 18 innings, 1-0 record, 18 Ks, 3 ERA, a 106 whip, and 3 quality starts. So Gibson right now, he's a guy you could honestly pick up off the waiver wire as well and sell him off here. I know he's on a good Baltimore team where they're going to be a team for many years to come, I believe, is Baltimore to be reckoned with, because they got a mix of young players and good veterans, and they still got more hitters in that farm system as well. So July 20th at Tampa, 6 innings, no decision, 7 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 8 Ks, a quality start. July 25th at Philly, 6 innings, no decision, 4 hits, 2 runs, 5 Ks, a quality start. And July 31st at the Blue Jays, 6 innings in that one, got the win, 4 hits, a run, 2 walks, 5 Ks, a quality start. So last 4 out of 5 outings, we've seen quality outings from Gibson. He was always an innings eater. I'll give him that, no doubt about it. Even if he was batting practice on some games or not, he still will give you at least 5 to 6 innings, is Gibson. So right now, while he's pitching on a good Baltimore Oriole team, he's got a good matchup coming up August 5th versus the New York Mets. That's a team that just blew it all up here, pitching their top pitchers in Verlander and Scherzer and a couple other pieces where he could go out there and pitch good. But after that outing, then he's probably a pitcher I would sell. I know the win-loss record's good this season, but like I said, he's a pitcher. He'll have peaks and valleys. Some weeks he'll be good, and then some weeks his ERA will be over a 6 or 7. So right now, while he's on a good path and has a good matchup coming up next time, August 5th versus the New York Mets. After that outing, he's a pitcher I'd look to sell this week. The next pitcher, Felix Bautista of the Baltimore Orioles. So he's been one of the best closers, if not the best closer in fantasy baseball this season. He's been lights out, and he's already got 29 saves on the year with 51 2/3, 6-1 record to 29 saves, 101 strikeouts, 0.87 ERA, 0.85 whip. So he's getting 2 strikeouts an inning. Here's Bautista. And like I said, he's been unhittable right now and closing the door quickly and easily in the 9th inning for this Baltimore Oriole team. And in the last month, he hasn't given up an earned run. 13 innings, 3-0, 7 saves, 22 strikeouts. So his strikeout rate is amazing as well. But I don't know if he's going to hold up as well as Bautista. The way he's going, and last season, he came out of nowhere for this Baltimore team. And this year now, he's continued where he left off last year. But the 0.87 ERA, I think, is not going to hold up this season. Especially in the dog days of some of those hot days. Sometimes the ball just travels even more off the bat, and it's tough to keep up an ERA under 1 on the season. So right now, while he's been lights out, probably the best closer in fantasy baseball, he's definitely a sell-high guy. And if you could get a solid starting pitch or even a bat here for a closer, where I don't value closers that much in fantasy baseball because there's not many good ones. And like I said, they only pitch maybe a couple times a week, and they'll obviously help you in saves, ERA and whip, but everything else you're not getting out of the closer. So right now, well, he's been an elite closer, and I think you could get a good bat and a good starter in a deal. One of those guys in a 1-for-1. That's the route I would go this week, and he's a pitcher I would trade this week. And the 5th and final pitcher I look to sell and trade this week is Pablo Lopez of the Minnesota Twins. So Lopez, it's been an up and down first season here for him with the Minnesota Twins. I know it was a deal for Luis Arraez, and this trade for both teams, to be honest, has been pretty good, even though Arraez is hitting on another level this season, hitting over 380. So on the year for Lopez, 134 2/3, 6-6 record, 165 Ks, a 4.01 ERA, 1.12 whip, and 13 quality starts. So one thing with Lopez, his strikeout rate is definitely up from last season to this year, getting more strikeouts. Last year, 180 innings, only 174 Ks, but this year already 1.2 strikeouts per inning for Lopez. And the last couple weeks, he's definitely pitching good. 18 innings, 1-1 record, 20 Ks, a 2.50 ERA, a 1.06 whip, and 2 quality starts. So right now, he went from a tough NL East, obviously, in the offseason, to an AL Central that doesn't have a lot of good hitting teams. We know the White Sox pretty much sold everyone off. The Cleveland Guardians, their hitting hasn't really been good this season for the most part, besides Josh Naylor and Jose Ramirez. And they even traded Josh Bell and Ahmed Rosario away as well. So right now, Pablo Lopez, he's been a solid starter the last few seasons. But right now, I think he's pitching a little bit over his head here with some of the numbers. And he's had 3 pretty easy matchups in the last few outings. July 20th at the Mariners, 5 innings. Got the loss, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 7 Ks. July 25th versus the Mariners, 7 innings, no decision, 6 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 8 Ks, a quality start. And August 1st at the Cardinals, 6 innings, got the win in yesterday's game. 4 hits, a run, 5 Ks, a quality start. So Lopez, he's going out there. He's pitched good baseball, 4 quality starts in the last 6 outings, which is good to see. But he's not getting a lot of run support. This Minnesota Twin team pretty much didn't do anything at the deadline to improve. So right now, Lopez pitching good, but I don't know if it's going to hold up for him. Like I said, with his innings as well, he's already almost hitting that mark where he hit last season, is Pablo Lopez. And like I said, he's not going to get a lot of run support. Already played a lot of the easier teams here is Minnesota over the last month and a half. So right now the matchups are going to get harder for this Minnesota Twin team. And I just think Lopez, he's a mid-pitcher for fantasy baseball. There's weeks he's going to be lights out, like we saw with a complete game shutout early in the year. And then there's weeks where he's going to get rocked pretty good. So right now, while he's been pitching good baseball the last month of the season, he's a pitcher I look to sell and trade this week. I think I'm not just going to dump these guys for anything. It's got to be good value, obviously. But most of these players, I think, have reached their peak. And they're going to go the other way for the next few weeks here. So that's what I mean when I'm going to sell these guys off. I'm not just going to dump them for any old thing to say I made a trade. But if I could get a right deal and get a good bat or a solid pitcher that we know has a good track record and it's just struggling this season, that's the type of deal you want to do with these players. But anyway, that's a few pitchers I look to sell and trade here for Week 17 of the fantasy baseball season.